March and April of 2020, New York City EMS workers responded to the most medical emergencies daily in the city's history. At the height of the pandemic, call volume increased by thousands. This morning, of course, we honor them for their part in helping New Yorkers through this crisis. Joining us is Vincent Variale. He is president of the Uniformed EMS Officers Union Local 3621. Good morning, Vincent, and many thanks to you and your incredible team.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on today, and thank you for the wonderful, generous welcoming that we get from the people of this city of New York.
Absolutely, because it is so deserving. I don't think we have really wrapped our minds yet around all the work, the tireless and selfless work you all have been doing. Vincent, can you kind of take us into what it was like for you and your team responding to the many calls you guys received during the pandemic? What was one day like for you?
Well, I had COVID early on, and unfortunately, I went down. I was out of it for the first 3 weeks of the pandemic, and I know many of our members were out there every day with the call volume spiking from a normal day of 4,000 to over 6,500, almost 7,000 calls a day. And we were doing it with already being short-staffed, and then more members were getting sick. At one time, we had over 26% of the workforce was out sick with COVID. So we were handling a much higher call volume with a lot less members doing the job. But I got to tell you, our members, they stepped up and they acted heroically as they always do, and they saved a lot of lives and responded to a lot of calls, and they did their job as they always do.
Absolutely. And when it comes to people who work in service, I think the general public sometimes may underestimate your natural ability, the visceral response you guys have to go towards issues, right? To go towards danger, to help others. What sorts of jobs do you think maybe fell under the umbrella with EMS?
Jobs that fell under the umbrella, we responded to all jobs that we could. Obviously, less priority jobs probably had to wait longer for an ambulance. I know our members still kept up going with the calls as much as they could. It was a lot of what they were dealing with too was a lot of mental stress because, look, we're used to dealing with death. We unfortunately have to, as part of the job, and we have to deal with that. But we went from a time of working, say, 80 cardiac arrest calls a day to doing over 300 a day. So it was a constant call after call after call, telling people, I'm sorry, we did all we could, but your loved one is not going to come back today. Unfortunately, at one time, there was so many cardiac arrest calls, even the hospitals said if you can't get their heartbeat back, don't transport them to the hospital. You have to leave them at the home. And that was hard for us to do because we don't like to give up, and we want to keep on trying to get somebody back to life and deliver the medical care they need.
Right. And as you mentioned, oftentimes when you're in crisis mode, in times of crisis, you may end up losing someone. But you guys also lost some really important members of your team on the EMS. Can you talk about that?
Yes, we had about 12 deaths during the year of COVID. Some of those were suicides, unfortunately. Members just couldn't handle what they were seeing. We have a very young workforce. 75% of our membership is under 5 years of experience. 68% have less than 3 years experience, which is part of the reason why both EMS unions are boycotting today's parade. We appreciate the gratitude and welcoming again by the city, but EMS has been without a contract for 3 years. We can't keep anybody on this job. 75% of the workforce has less than 5 years on the job. There are many studies that have shown EMS members with 7 years experience or more increase the survival rate and the patient outcome rate. If we have 75% of the workforce with less than 5 years, that means the city of New York, the mayor, is literally killing New Yorkers by not giving them the pay and benefits they deserve and equal to police and fire. Currently, EMS, we earn $40,000 less than the sanitation or police and firefighters. We're part of the Uniformed Emergency Services, and the city still refuses to acknowledge that. They want to treat us as an office worker. and it's a big problem. It's a big problem in New York City.
Now, I asked you where you were before we started the interview. You said you're at your office. We know a lot of the essential first responders are there along the Canyon of Heroes getting ready for the parade. What you stated just now, is that why you and your teams are not present?
We're not present. Matter of fact, most EMS members, or all EMS members you'll see there today, are there because they're being paid to go there. We have told our members, if you're not getting paid to go there and you're not being ordered to go there, then you should avoid the parade. This parade we look at as Mayor de Blasio's way of saying, let them eat cake moment. If you have the money for a parade, then you should pay your first responders a decent salary, a livable wage. We have EMTs making $16 an hour. They can't live on that wage. We're saving lives here, and we need to keep people on this job. You can't do that at $16 an hour. It's a big problem. So any members you see there today from FDNY EMS are being paid to go there. Our members are not going. If they're not being paid, they're not going.
Obviously, a lot of systematic issues that need to be addressed, but still, Vincent Variale, we thank you and your team. We thank you for your 27 years plus of service. We appreciate you and your entire team. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.